Thanks so much to our title sponsor, Visit Bloomington. We would not be here without them. Check them out, visitbloomington.com.
Hey, say, honey, let's go out to eat. Relieve our culinary duties. With all these restaurants to sweep us off our feet, they're bound to turn us into foodies. No dishes, no dishes, no dishes. We'll have a bottle of wine for lights and have a good time. No dishes, no dishes.
Yeah, so tell me about this. What happened?
So when I was in 8th grade, I had a Canadian teacher, and I would always just talk crap. And I had I had good relationships with my teachers. Never was like a problem in class, but I would always poke fun at them and talk crap or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah.
And this one day I went really hard, like talking crap about Canada at the end of class. And then the next day I go into class, and before class starts, she goes, Trey, before class starts, and she was like being serious all of a sudden. I was like, oh, crap.
Yeah.
She was like, I want you to apologize for talking bad about Canada. And I go, like, the whole class is looking at me. I'm like, what do I say? And I go, I'm sorry. And she freaking kicked me out. She kicked me out of class for the whole entire period.
Well, you can't help it.
Yeah, it was hilarious. I'm sorry. I thought I was like a comedic genius at that point.
No, that's good. Yeah. It's all about timing. You just had to hit it right with that.
100%.
Yeah, you're like, I'll never diss the motherland again.
Yeah.
I apologize.
But that had to be like
Yeah.
I couldn't just roll over, I had to.
Yeah. You got to shoot your shot. Yeah. It's, and it's just instinct. Like when I was like, word up. Just like, that's how that's like now that I've worked at restaurants so long, that was my herd. But back in 7th grade, just word up. I thought it was cool, but.
It's like affirmative.
Yeah,
it's
exactly. Like I hear you, I see you, I understand.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's good. I'm trying to communicate.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thanks for being here, fellas. Sam Law, Trey Humphreys. Who's your A1 vintage?
Trey Humphrey.
Humphrey. Ooh, not singular. It's one man.
Just one.
Trey Humphrey and Sammy Law, aka Sam Law, with Backroad Market. Been a long time coming.
Yes, sir. Happy to be here.
Been having my eyes on the podcast.
Dude,
watching the clips.
You've been standing no dishes for a minute. I appreciate it. I'm just like, who's your A1? I was like, who is this dude? I was like, he's been all about what we're doing. I appreciate the love. I feel it.
Hell yeah.
I've known Sam forever. So Sam used to come in with his family.
Yeah. How I was like 8.
Yeah.
I think. Yeah.
It's been a minute. So before I was at Chocolate Moose, when I was at Sweetgrass, Sam and his family came in there and we're regulars. And then you went to school right next to Chocolate Moose, ended up working for us there. Yeah. And you've been doing some really cool stuff since high school, which is now kind of blossomed into Backroad Market. So it's been really cool to see that growth. Can you kind of fill people in on what Backroad Market is and what you do?
Yeah, I mean, I always sold like used clothes and shoes all through high school. I did a lot of like thrifting. I'd go to like Plato's Closet and sell to like local kids and, just kids in my school. And then my senior year, I got connected with Xavier Johnson, the point guard at IU.
Yeah.
And I started sourcing some clothes for him using like just some connections I'd made over the years. And then like once he saw I could do that, he put me in a group chat with some of the other guys and used those like Instagram shout outs and stuff to kind of expand. And now I do a lot of most of the football team, most of the basketball team. And I've just recently started to expand into the pro leagues and colleges around the area.
Dude, that's so sick. Yeah, because like your story, like your personal story, I don't know about the Backroad one, it's like just constant, just like athletes out. I'm like, damn, Sam's got it in, man. He's like, you must be getting some like, are you just getting stuff that people can't find? Is that what it is? Like, is it just exclusives?
That's a lot of it. And then, I get a lot of stuff imported from other countries and stuff and factories directly. Like I have a lot of connections directly into the companies themselves. So I'm able to get stuff for usually like cheaper than retail a lot of times.
Wow. Damn. Yeah. How old are you?
I just turned 19.
That's so
He's
nuts.
a baby.
I know.
He's going to roll Bloomington.
But dude, to just be like having connects like that and these exclusive like companies like at 19 is so sick.
I think a lot of it, I mean, from the outside in, it's a really interesting business. I think a lot of it is selection too. Because if you think about the amount of people who are not only interested in the clothing that he gets, you take that group of people, maybe it's 0.5% of the American population, and then you take the percent of them that have the money to buy that in mass quantities.
Yeah.
That's like nobody. That's like one person or two people in every, or in every city the size of Bloomington.
Yeah.
So if you really dedicate yourself to that and become that guy, who puts your balls on the line, put your money on the line.
Yeah.
That's
100%. Yeah.
what you get, right?
Yeah, you're filling that void. One, just like it all starts with that one connection, and then just it grew from there because they knew they could rely on you. You're going to get the cool shit. How did you start? I saw like you were at like Marquette recently. How did you start branching out to other schools other than like just IU?
I mean, a lot of it started so I started like Backroad Market, which was just for like the general public. My junior year of high school when I did a business competition through the state. And then I used that to that's how I met Xavier. And then once I started using, like it's a lot of like word, mouth to mouth marketing is a lot of it. So like I said, Xavier connected me to people. And then I started doing most of my stuff just on like text messages and stuff like that, which is why I don't really even use my other accounts that often anymore. A lot of it is just like I don't really have a catalog of what I have. It's just kind of like, if you know me, I can pull up to your house or wherever you're at and give it to you. So I really just like, when you're dealing with collegiate athletes and professional athletes, they all they all grow up playing each other is one thing I've learned. So like, all the dudes at IU played AAU against or with guys at other colleges. So when they shout me out on Instagram, I get a lot of those follows. And then once I started collecting enough follows from like important people, I think a big thing is like the mutual followers on Instagram. So then if I DM someone, it'll be like followed by, and it has like a list of other people.
Yeah.
So now it's gotten to the point where like the Marquette, I got connected with them because I just DM'd their point guard. Because I saw one of the IU dudes reposted his post, and I just DM'd him. I say, yo. He was like, yo. I was like, you guys like clothes? He's like, yep.
You like?
Yeah. I was like, where should I get a hotel? He was like, brew house. I said, okay. And I was there 2 weeks later.
Yeah, I love it because it's just like, it's so kind of underground. You're just like setting up in the hotel room, going into the locker rooms. And I'm sure like if they see like, oh, like Hood Schifino and Jackson Davis follow this guy, like he must be legit. And that's why like I'm so happy to have both you guys together because what you both do is so cool, but it's so different. Because like Sam's like, I've got these guys that they don't want to wear stuff other people are wearing. Like I'm not even marketing. And then you're over here and you're like the king of marketing. Wow. Where I mean, you're like, come on, like stop.
It's all about marketing for me.
Yeah.
Right. That's the big. And that's something that really interests me about this business model because this is extremely rare to me from just my experience. And it is extremely fascinating to think about, I guess, high-end luxury markets and how successful businesses are created in that realm. Because for me, the more people that buy off me, the more people that look, the better off I am.
Yeah.
But it's almost like it's like a personal relationship market with you. It's like really all about like having that impact.
Well, didn't you describe it as yourself as a personal stylist?
Yeah, I've started describing myself as that more because I do a lot more like sourcing now. Because I used to just have a lot of stuff on hand, and now a lot of the stuff I do, especially for like the dudes I deal with in the leagues, like I like send them pictures of stuff I can get before, and I make outfits for them, and then I buy it and ship it to them.
Okay, yeah, so like more intentional instead of being like, hey, here's what I got. What do you like?
Yeah.
It's incredible to me.
Yeah, so it's just like, I just love how it's polar opposite what you guys are doing, but they're both like so fascinating because you've both been successful at it. How did Hoosier A1 even come about? Because I feel like it was maybe a year and a half ago where I started just constantly seeing stuff.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm like, who is this dude? Like, because it's like, it's clowning like in the best way possible.
Oh, no,
it's like,
100%.
It's funny, it's silly, and it's vintage clothing, which isn't a new concept, but like the execution of it is very well done.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I guess it started forever ago. It started my senior year of high school.
Where'd you go to high school?
Pike High School, Indianapolis, Indiana.
I played Lincoln in middle school football.
Really? Hell yeah. I went to New Augusta North, so.
Okay.
But Lincoln, I know a lot of guys who went there, I guess. So I started my senior year, and I sold shoes at Dick's Sporting Goods. And like resold Supreme and stuff like that. Like my freshman, sophomore year was when Supreme was like crazy. Like people who were like in the know about sneakers and stuff really started to transition into clothing in that sense, reselling clothes. So I got into Supreme, sold stuff on Depop and whatnot and whatever. And then basically spent too much money on clothes, went broke, and was like, well, I need to figure out a more efficient way to get clothing, thrifting. Heard someone, I think it was not even a conversation I was involved in, say, you know, I know this guy who just sells Ralph Lauren from Goodwill, and he makes his entire living doing that.
Whoa.
So me being 17 or 18 at the time, was like, holy crap, I'm gonna pick up every single piece of Ralph Lauren I can.
Yeah.
And I sold on Depop for like 2 months and probably made like $60.
What's Depop?
Depop is like eBay.
Okay.
It's just like an online marketplace for clothing. And then I basically, through kind of getting introduced into reselling from thrifting, I met guys who own shops and who were kind of more established, and then basically started buying mass quantities, or, you know, wholesale quantities.
Yeah. And this is still in high school?
Just out of high school. So summer before I went to IU.
Okay.
And I always knew I was going to go to IU.
Yeah.
So I was kind of preparing my business strategy, and I had a mentor in high school. We always talked about kind of where I wanted to be and what I wanted to do. And I was determined to escape having people control over my life and, you know, be a business owner, which now looking back was foolish to think that I could escape, you know, assholes and people who want to control me. But you know, I enjoy, you know, owning my own business.
Yeah. How old are you?
I'm 23
Yeah,
now.
you already sound old and jaded. I mean, I'm 30. You're like, I was young and foolish.
Well, and,
it's like
you
you've
know
already
what I
figured
mean.
it out. Yeah.
And for a while there, I really did have a system that was not reliant on anyone but myself, because I sold clothes out of my house.
Yeah.
Like my big, like, I guess, claim to fame was not only doing the promotional videos and being, you know, kind of eccentric and goofy and silly and crazy. It was that I had a shop in my basement that I painted, and it was like an experience on its own. And with that model of business, I could wake up in the morning on Saturday after doing a week of promotions, make my coffee in my PJs, you know, or butt ass naked.
Yeah.
And then once 11 o'clock hit, I just had to be clothed and in my basement, and people would just walk into my house.
You're like
and
bare minimum. Yeah.
And buy my clothes. And now the business has grown and it's changed. And I'm like, holy crap, I really had it so good in a sense, you know, in a lifestyle sense.
Yeah, it's funny. Like, you don't realize what you have until you've moved on. Like, because the whole time you're like, oh, I'm fighting for this. I want a brick and mortar. I want the spot. And then you get there and you're like, man.
I'm like, wow.
Maybe I should have just stuck with a basement.
Yeah. It's a whole different game out there.
Wasn't that kind of recent? Because I feel like you were still doing basement stuff within the last year or so, right?
Within the last year, yeah. I definitely slowed down around this time last year, doing showroom stuff. And then it really picked back up. I mean, with the website was kind of like a big jump for me, I guess, in terms of people's perception of what Hoosier A1 Vintage is and its reach. And then the Kirkwood spot was really like, yeah.
I'm glad you brought that up, because you were doing those pop-ups right there, kind of just by Nick's, right?
Yep. Next to the Indiana shop in Pattaya. Shout out Pattaya.
Were they the ones that kind of teed that up, or
Yes.
like you worked with to get that off the ground?
Yeah. And it makes, I mean, it used to be, shout out Nick's too. Those guys are great. It used to be a Nick's storage space. And then I don't know what happened, but basically, 1 second.
There you go, bub. You're like,
I'm loving that. Basically what happened is it became available, and there are not many things that you can sell in an alleyway. You can't, there aren't many businesses that you can start to sell in an alleyway.
Not legal ones.
And I'm not involved in any of that.
I can think of a lot of things you can sell in an alleyway.
You know what I mean? There are not many things where you can go, here's my business plan to make, $300,000 in the next year and a half. And it starts with me occupying an alleyway that's less than 1,000 square feet. And I think it just made so much sense to have a vintage shop, there, because there weren't really any other businesses that, and I hate to sound conceited, but could do what I do in that spot.
Yeah.
Because a lot of a lot of businesses are it's clean, it's professional, it's whatever. my whole thing is complete opposite. You know, I'm a crazy person that talks people's ears off when they come into my shop, and I'm selling used clothes, you know, for a good price.
Well, I feel like I've talked about how polar opposite you guys are, but there's an element of exclusivity to both, where like yours is still like, oh, I got this on my story, like hit me up before somebody else does.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like it's still this, like, you feel like you're in the know about the pop-up.
100%.
It's not just something that people are like Googling, you know, Bloomington vintage clothes.
I mean,
like,
you could look that up.
Okay, you're at that status now. All right, my bad. But you know what I mean? Like, unless in the past, unless you followed Hoosier A1 Vintage, like you had to be in the know to like get access to your clothing.
And the appointment system and all that.
Yeah, exactly. Like the showroom, like, set up an appointment. Like, ooh, shit. Like I need an appointment to buy clothes. Like I've made it. It makes me think of like D2 Mighty Ducks, where they had to get like buzzed in to that clothing store. Have you seen that movie?
No, I haven't.
You guys are so
I've heard it before. I've seen the t-shirts. I've seen the Mighty Duck t-shirts.
That's why I was looking at Garrett, because I knew he was going to be my crutch on that. I was like, Garrett, you're old like me. You've seen it. Don't miss Constellation Stage and Screen's production of The Play That Goes Wrong, on stage March 21st through April 7th at the Waldron Arts Center. Monty Python meets Noises Off in this slapstick farce called The Funniest Play Broadway Has Ever Seen. It's comic gold that is sure to bring down the house. See The Play That Goes Wrong on stage March 21st through April 7th in downtown Bloomington. Find tickets at cconstellation.org. Oh man,
Flying V.
Yeah, thank you.
Quack.
Yeah, Goldberg.
I mean, I think like the biggest similarity I've noticed between us since I've gotten to know Trey is just I feel like we both took a fairly like simple and popular idea, but we both realized that it's not really like a sustainable business model, and we both like found a way to twist it. Because I think like, you know, there's a lot of talk around like selling vintage clothes now and thrifting.
Oh my God.
Like it's a whole trend. And when I started, you know, like quote unquote reselling, it was because it was a trend and I was bored in COVID. Like we both kind of picked up these things from when people were doing, you know, there's a lot of people doing it. And then we found ways to kind of like make it our own thing and differentiate ourselves. And I think that's kind of what has kept us there longer than the other, you know, like all the people I knew who started selling shoes when I was a freshman, like they've
moved on to something else. Well,
a lot of people don't have or I don't know. I don't want to talk shit on those people or whatever. Like, but what I like this kind of this thing that I don't know where I heard it, but basically it's like if you tell, you know, 95% of, or if you tell everyone that, well, that's okay. Here's hypothetical. There are 100 people starting a podcast. You tell all 100 people that, well, 95% of the people who start podcasts don't do it, whatever, in the next year. Right? There are 95 people that'll just stop doing it. That's the way I look at it. Right? Most people who like have hardships in business and whatnot, or people our age, younger people, you know what I mean? They have a hardship. Just go get a job. Just go work at go work at the Chocolate Mousse or go work somewhere else, because it's just like, it's a lot.
Yeah, you got to be resilient and then also creative. Like I feel like that's the biggest thing you guys did was get creative to find a way to make it sustainable.
And I'm nuts.
No, I can't. We've been talking for 5 minutes and I'm just kidding.
No, I'm serious. I'm nuts. Like, I remember like making the showroom. I was 19, and I remember like making the showroom and like calling people and being like feeling insane, telling them like this is going to be like a big thing. This is going to be like my life for the next 4 years. This is going to be like my full-time job. And I remember people like listening to me while I'm painting, just some like shitty room in my apartment. Being like, what the hell is this guy talking about? And then looking back, it's like, was I right? Or was I just crazy enough to, just like kind of stick with it?
Yeah.
You know?
I feel like that's the case for so many successful entrepreneurs, that way more successful than any of us.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? Like you just have to be just enough crazy to keep putting up with all the roadblocks that come along the way.
Yeah.
When you're trying to start your own business.
Yeah.
How did you guys first meet? Did you first see each other as competitors?
No, absolutely
Or were you
not.
just like, oh no, like we're both doing our own thing?
Kane.
It was Kane. Yeah.
Barbara Kane. Shout out Barbara Kane, baby.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's my guy. It's Sam's guy. He's the man. You got to have him on.
Oh yeah, dude.
Man.
No, I'll see him out. We always give each other the what's up, how's it going? Yeah. He's good people for sure.
Yeah.
So
Kane is who got me introduced to like most of the football team. That's
how
I first got into like the locker room and everything. I just go with him while he cut their hair.
Oh, sick.
And then set up with my like one suitcase and just sell them clothes in there.
Were
So I
you
got
just
all the
like
contacts.
holding the clothes up in front of them while they're having their haircut? Like,
Yeah, low key. They just come from like workouts and stuff, and I'd just be like in there on their couch with clothes. And I'd have to call out of high school to do it, and it was a really interesting thing. Because they'd all be like, "Oh, you don't have class today," and I'm like, "Well," I'm like,
yeah,
kind of. I mean, like depends how you want to look at it.
Yeah, you
know?
could say that.
I'm learning.
You're like, I'm not there. Tell you that much.
Yeah. I still have some like even now that are like, they'll be like, "I thought you were like a junior," and I'm like, "No, I was in high school," and they're like, "Oh, like that makes more sense." I'm like, "Yep."
That's awesome. That's sweet.
Yeah. Obviously, like we were saying from back when you're coming to Sweetgrass, I know your parents are both incredible. Some of the nicest people I've ever met in my entire life. So it's cool that they've supported you through all of this. I'm sure they've got to be proud of like just seeing how far you've come in such a short time.
Yeah. No, they're very supportive for sure. Yeah.
Yeah. Your dad is a good musician too. He's played down at Food Truck Friday. You guys will have to come check it out. And you said we're right next to Friendly Beast Cider. And they got some live music over there. So I don't think we show them enough love on here, Garrett. Need to. So shout out to our friends at Friendly Beast.
Shout out Friendly Beasts.
Even though I don't drink it. Oh, actually.
They make
don't
great
drink,
ciders.
You can't go to Friendly Beast Cider. One of our sponsors is No Buzz Bottles. We got some zero proof gin alternative here.
Gin alternative?
Yeah, legit.
Kind of makes you wonder, right?
Yeah, so I had
People drink this for recreation?
Yeah, so it's so I stopped drinking like a year and a half ago.
Okay.
Yeah, but it's I get it. It's weird where you're just like, what? Like,
I've
why
drank
not
a
just-
non-alcoholic beer before. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, we got one of those down here in the kitty.
I'm only 19. I don't-
Yeah, that's
I
the
don't
only thing.
understand
Yeah,
You can
that
have
kind
it.
of-
You can have it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is for Sand, so you can carry a bottle around. It's legit, you know.
hey, there you go.
Walk into the dorm with it and not get fined.
Ooh,
Yeah,
yeah.
ooh, yeah,
Or
you're just-
expelled.
Yeah, you're just
Yeah.
messing with the RA. Oh.
Yeah. I have a funny story about someone that I know who has a very similar name to me, but wasn't me. This person one time was buying weed in a dorm room in Ashton Voss, and the dealer that they were buying from was an idiot and brought, I don't even know, 5 or 6 ounces into the dorms.
That's cool.
Opens it up in the dorm room for like 2-3 minutes. So as that person who has a very similar name to me is leaving, right? Leaving down to go smoke, right? He opens up the door to leave Ashton Voss, and there's literally a police officer walking in, hold the door for the police officer, and he goes about his day.
just ballsy, man.
Dude, I knew people that got expelled like first 3 weeks for drugs.
For just like smoking in the dorm.
No, not smoking in the dorm, having drugs.
Huh.
Like having weed, like getting kicked out of school.
Man, that's nuts.
It's not nearly that serious now.
It's,
Yeah,
bro,
it's-
at Voss, when I was a freshman, which I only had a semester and a half because of COVID, because that was my freshman year, we had like real narc RAs.
Yeah.
Like terrible, no life, narc in the worst way.
Yeah, tell me how you really feel.
No,
You're like these mother. Let me
No.
tell you one thing.
No, seriously though, like there are people that like went out of their way, like
Yeah,
just like I don't know. I
Well,
never
I mean, it's
understood that.
It's luck of the draw. Like, so I didn't go to IU, but when I first started coming down here, when I was like 16, 17, 18, before I moved down,
Yeah.
my friends all lived in the dorms. So when my first experiences coming down here were like going to IU and it was all just luck of the draw of who their RA was.
Yeah.
You know, some were like, oh yeah, it's cool. They're legit. They're awesome.
Yeah, they're
Others were
fine.
like, yeah, they suck, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like, what do you, I don't know. I can't, that's one of the things, I don't dislike a lot of things, but that's one thing that really grinds my gears. It's like parking. This is a great podcast to talk about parking enforcement.
Dude, if you want,
Holy crap.
I don't think you understand how close parking enforcement is to me right now. No, anyway, keep going. I'll fill in. I got stories on parking.
Dude, it's a problem. It's seriously a problem.
You're talking IU, not city.
I'm talking about city parking.
Okay, yeah.
IU parking too, because IU has an incentive not to offer parking because they make however much money a year not having basically any public parking for any students.
Right.
But the city, I don't want to be too anti-establishment on this podcast.
Bro, do
or
your
anything.
thing.
But it's ridiculous. I mean, so basically the house that I'm living in now, there's a city right away. I'll try to keep this short.
No, you're great. We got time.
There's a city right away at the edge of my parking lot. Right?
Okay.
Or my driveway.
Yeah.
So if I park on my driveway wrong, I'm technically violating the city right of way. I'm violating the city right of way that's under my driveway. So the reason the city right of way is there is because there's lines under there. And in an emergency, you need to access it. But there's like 5 inches of concrete over the lines already. So there wasn't a problem when the real estate company was paving over city right of way, putting permanent things.
Yeah.
In
So
it.
you're like just park. So how many tickets have you gotten parking in your own driveway?
Oh my God. I've paid probably $1,000 in tickets. Because for a while, I was just like, up yours, man. Because I had some not nice guy who was a loser. You know what I mean? Just a complete mess up, in my opinion, narc, who just was an ass. So I'd just be like, up yours, man. I'll go to the city.
So he was like singling you out. He'd go out of his way to
100%.
Yeah.
I'm getting tickets for parking. You know, my wheel is 2 inches over the driveway. I'm getting improper surface tickets for $50.
God,
Dude,
dude,
it's a
that's rough.
scam. It's a scam. I already pay taxes. Paid tens of thousands of dollars in taxes.
So I'm like torn. I don't know how long we can go on parking, but it's fine.
Sorry.
Because the thing is, if you don't pay for parking, at least like downtown, right? Because like I'm just moved from living like Kirkwood on the Square, so I get it. Because like if you don't pay for parking, cars are just going to camp there all day, and I don't know if there will ever be spots open up. You know, so like, what's the balance of that? The Bloomington Town Planner is a community calendar owned and published by local residents John and Sharon Martin. Mailed out to Bloomington homes in December of each year, it features school schedules and community events. And don't forget the coupons at the bottom of the calendar. They'll save you money and help you decide on the next restaurant or retailer to check out here in the Bloomington area. Town Planner also has an online calendar which will be found at townplanner.com. Make sure to sign up for their weekly e-newsletter so you can stay on top of all the fun events going on around town.
There's no balance.
It's kind of like he said, like, nobody needs to be targeting.
No,
You know what I'm saying? Like, that's
exactly.
just
Like,
like a
I
little,
feel
like-
like it should just be a reasonable amount. Or like you couldn't, for a longest time on that app, like, I don't know, you could pay past like the end time, still get charged for it. There was like all these little things that like I couldn't set an end time. I don't know.
It's bull. And the reality is this is how our system, or in my opinion, this is kind of a controversial political take. This is how our system works now, is that every single normal person has issues with this kind of pay for the road you already paid for,
Right.
this type of thing. It doesn't, to most citizens, doesn't make reasonable sense.
Right. Yeah.
But we're still kind of
Going along with it.
we have to. We don't have a choice. So it's like, I don't know. We should have a referendum or have a powwow about what's going on here and figure something out.
You know what we need, Garrett? So we had the mayor on. We need to have Trey and Carrie on together, and that'd be so much
That would
fun.
be the end of my goddamn career. That's what that would be.
I think that would be a good panel discussion.
No,
you
that's
know?
what I
We get
mean.
some real answers to things.
When I feel like I would just be the moderator. I'd be like off camera, and you guys could just sit across, and you're like, okay, answer me this. No, just you know what I mean.
Want that. I wouldn't want that. I would be done. I would be done if I was to be 100%. Even to be 100% honest on recording ever with anything, I'm putting my career in jeopardy.
Right.
Seriously, I've had things recently where I thought I was being a regular human being and being a regular person, and all of a sudden I have some random person in my face with a camera,
Dude,
trying to threaten me and trying to like ruin my entire career that I've worked for in a second. So love the mayor, love every single person.
Well, she just
or
got into
whatever.
office, so you can't blame any but you're talking more of the establishment and just taxes a whole.
People. It's incredible. I can't even operate as a normal person anymore. Like,
dude, I had a guy whip out a camera on me. He didn't not that I'm anybody. He didn't it wasn't because he knew who I was or anything like that. But if you don't take the camera out and you're just like, you make them feel silly, like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
Like, what are we even doing here, bud?
Yeah.
Because it was during Lotus. We set up all the food trucks on Kirkwood, and he just pulled his motorcycle. I'm like, bro, you can't be right there.
Some
like,
tough
we're
guys
loading,
like, oh, this guy's harassing me.
Oh, and I'm like, bro, I'm just trying to ask you to move your motorcycle. Anyway, so if that ever comes out, I don't know if I ever brought this up before, Garrett. Now my bases are covered. I know that video is out there.
You're like, hey man, can you move your motorcycle? He's like, no, fuck you. Yeah. That whole thing is incredible to me, but it's
like
not going anywhere.
A lot of like older people are like just now figuring out about the whole recording someone during
Right,
conversation.
yeah.
So now they do it even when it's, and then people record them and everybody's just laughing at them recording someone.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's like you don't actually need to.
I don't think I've ever had the urge to like take my phone out and record a because I'm usually like, yeah, let's like just figure out what's going on here.
Yeah.
I got other shit to do.
Yeah. Unless you need evidence.
Right. Yeah.
Because that's how the whole thing started. It was just cops. Because it was just like that's I mean. That's
Well, yeah,
just,
Yeah,
so
trying
like-
to keep
because
trying to
they
hold
would-
people accountable.
Yeah,
and
so
whatnot.
it's
Yeah,
like
well,
that
that's
makes
true.
sense. But
Yeah, well, just like a lot of things, they start out with good intentions and being necessary, and then they get,
Yeah.
to a point where it's just like, what are we doing here?
Yeah.
All right, well, we've solved all the world's problems. We'll go back into clothing real quick.
Sorry.
No. I'm very happy with it. I'm here for it. I don't know if you guys can answer this. What is the most expensive piece of clothing you've ever sold?
Sold. Well, I know Sam's is probably $1 billion.
I sold a hoodie for $1,100.
Jeez, that's nuts. Garrett, can you imagine paying $1,100 for a hoodie?
No.
The crazy thing, and I will defend the $1,100 hoodie, and this is something that a lot of people who even buy our products, this is something that's very similar about our products as well, is that when you buy my products or his products, the likelihood that it goes down in value is so low.
Right. Oh, yeah.
And when you buy, let's say even like like Lucky Brand, even like New Ralph, like you're paying, you're getting a good deal or whatever, or not a good deal, but you're getting a $60 hoodie, $100 hoodie.
Yeah.
But that's no longer worth $60 or $100. It's worth $10. So if you buy a $1,100 hoodie, it might be worth $1,500.
Yeah, it's kind
in
of
the
an
next 6
investment.
months. Yeah.
When I meant that more of like just it's crazy to me thinking that, but if I had any fashion sense and was a pro athlete or like someone with money,
Oh, yeah.
I would absolutely drop $1,100.
Yeah, and that's the name of the game.
Yeah.
It's both. All that we do is kind of, or the way I see it is capitalize on people's self-expression in a sense. People want to identify with certain things, and people who have a lot of money and they're young, they want to buy clothes that tell people, "Hey, I'm not only do I have a lot of money, I'm stylish, I'm top, I'm cream of the crop. I got the best."
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely.
That's to a certain extent, that's what I do. That's definitely kind of the designer market is I want the best quality stuff. I want people to know what it is.
Yeah, and you want like the exclusive. It's a status thing.
100%.
I mean, just like a nice watch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like most things that we do, even not feeding into that way of thinking is a status symbol in its own. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like not participating is like the coolest way to participate.
Yeah, like having that's where the vintage comes, where it's like not the new exclusive. It's the like, oh, my mom had this from
Yeah.
the 80s, and it cost me $3 or something.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I try to keep my mind away from a lot of like my buyer psychology, not in a bad way, but I feel like it always just overcomplicates my operation. What I always try to do is I try to have the best quality stuff at the best price. So I want 80% of the stuff that's in my shop, not even IU stuff really. I mean, IU's gotten so insane recently. This doesn't even apply to like my actual brand, kind of mantra, which is, best quality stuff for the best price.
Yeah.
And that's why vintage will never go away, is because you can get great quality stuff for a great price.
After a point, do you find like, is there just an unlimited Goodwill finds of IU stuff?
Absolutely not. It's,
Cause like
I don't want to talk too much about the state of the business, because at this point it's a bit personal.
Yeah.
But the great thing about IU vintage when I started was it was so small. I could just see it. I could just look at it. You know what I mean? It's like a Monopoly board. I could just look at it and I could put my hands on it. And if I had enough money at the time, you know what I mean? If I saved up enough money, I could just grab it all.
Yeah, yeah.
And I could monopolize. Seriously, for probably 2 years, I had what I would consider to be close to a monopoly on vintage IU. But that's the beauty of it for me, right? Is that. And now the just complete tragedy of it is that someone else who has more money than me somehow can do what I did to me.
Yeah.
So let's say, and that's the thing with niches and small markets, is you don't even need to have a viable business plan in order to eat up this product.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's not like, oh, well, he'll be gone in however long. It's like, no, like if someone comes into this game with like, let's say like $35,000 cash,
Right.
they can run a completely not viable strategy for a good while. You know what
Yeah,
I
yeah.
mean? And that's basically what's happening now.
I mean, that's why, I mean, in any business, you can go in and undercut all your competitors and lose money.
Yeah.
As long as you have enough to ride them out going out of business and
Yeah.
then jack it all up.
Yeah.
So you've seen that. Like,
Oh, yeah, I did
like,
that.
No,
you know?
well, I'm saying you've seen that like in your time where new people have come along,
Yeah.
try to replicate what you're doing and are just
100%.
throwing money at it.
100%. It's like, I always say it, vintage now is like being a musician. Kids do it, slimy kids do it so they can like try to have sex with chicks.
Yeah, yeah.
It's like a status symbol now. It's like, oh yeah, like I don't shower every day and I wear dirty jeans. It's like, oh yeah, what am I going to be? I'm going to be a vintage reseller. When I started doing vintage, bro, it was not all that. Like the only people who were wearing vintage clothes were like people like in LA who wanted to wear like band t-shirts.
Yeah.
Like when I started vintage, people were like reselling like Nike windbreakers and Tommy.
Right.
You know what I mean? It wasn't like post-COVID. COVID like catapulted vintage into like an entire new realm of like just popularity. In 2018, 2019, nobody gave a shit
no one
about
cared.
vintage. It was all about quality and price.
Yeah. Season 5 of the No Dishes podcast is brought to you by visitbloomington.com. VisitBloomington.com is the best resource for restaurant and culinary information, special events, fun activities, places to stay, and more in our area. We share a similar mission here on the No Dishes podcast of highlighting local businesses and the people who make our community unique. We can't thank them enough for hopping on board. Check them out at visitbloomington.com to easily plan your next meal, visit, or night out on the town. Have you had any of that the same, Sam? Have you had anyone kind of try to creep in on your market?
I was just about to say that my whole experience is the exact opposite. Like I crept in on others' markets.
Okay,
it was
so you were
popular.
that guy.
I mean,
I'm just kidding.
No, this whole
no,
thing
no.
is it's
I know.
such a trip. I won't talk about it publicly because I don't want to be a dick.
Right.
But like the circumstances that have caused like my new competitors or one specifically, it's like reading a fucking comic book.
Huh.
Like how it reads out. It's like, what are the odds that this is actually like it involves a lump sum of cash
Okay, yeah.
and like a sweepstakes almost.
Wow, man. So you're just getting outbid on.
Oh, 100%.
Man,
And I'm
that
not
sucks.
well, it is what
Yeah.
it is. The reality is that I'll always be able to get stuff. And I have business relationships that have lasted 5 years.
Yeah.
You know, and it's not once you get to like super not high levels, but high levels of vintage, it's more about respect than it is about money. And some people respect, you know, the longevity of operations over, you know, a $2 increase per item or a $5 increase per item.
Right. Yeah, yeah.
And that's what I'm writing on right
Yeah, you
now.
build up the rapport. I mean, with anything, it's all about who you know.
100%. I mean, to go back to your question, that's exactly kind of how I feel about it. Like I've spent enough time making these connections with these people that the only way somebody's really going to like switch up and get everything from another person is if they had some way of getting it for like, you know, 75% of what I charge for.
Yeah,
But
right,
at
yeah.
this point, it's like the only way like you're going to get like stuff like that is if it's like counterfeit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So
Well,
it's like a lot of times I have people that will like even some players that have came to me and been like, yo, like you want like 400 for this, but like here it's like 150. And I have to be like, yeah, well, that's because that's not real. You know what I mean? Like let me explain to you why.
Yeah.
So it's like just building up that trust, I think, is a big thing because that's in my field specifically, that's like a huge risk factor is just the amount of like counterfeit stuff now. And just, I mean, I think that's a big reason why I can charge what I do for things just because you know that when you buy it from me, there's not like a risk involved with it.
Yeah, it's legit. You got those connections within those companies. Well, and just like you're saying, even if they're 25% less and it's real, like you've built up that relationship. So like they're going to pay that little bit extra just because you've been their boy for so long.
I think that's where like, you know, the whole thing about like personal branding has come into effect for me too. Like that's why I do a lot of work with that. It's just to maintain that so people can't, you know, so I don't wake up one morning and have like no more clients. Not like I don't have like a history of like this is what I've done. You know, so like, you know, sometime down the road, like maybe if I start selling like, you know, jewelry or cars, I still have a whole like timeline of like these are the people I've worked with. This is what I've done. This is the brand of Sam Law, not really like my other brands. Because I think a lot of times people will make a company and they don't really connect it to their name enough. So then if that company goes out of business, it's like they've lost basically everything.
Yeah. So you're promoting more Sam Law than you are Backroad Market.
Yeah. That's that's kind of like what I said at the beginning. Like Backroad Market was more for when I was like selling to like the, you know, just random people in Bloomington, and now I've kind of like made it only, text. You got to have my number, my Instagram, stuff like that. I think, like I said, that's a big reason for that. Is just because that way I could sell all my clothes right now when I leave here and have nothing left and be like, I'm done with clothes, and I could move on to something else and still have support and still have name recognition.
Yeah.
Because I won't have lost everything.
I love that. And you got that.
That's sweet.
Well, yeah, you got that respect. And just like they know you're good no matter what you're slinging, So right now you're doing exclusive. You've got website, and where's this brick and mortar now?
So the brick and mortar is a temporary location on Kirkwood.
Okay.
And I'm not going anywhere. I went and looked at retail locations, I think 2 weeks ago. Looked at like 5 locations in a day, all in good parts of town, some in, just looking everywhere. Everything that I could find that was over 1,000 square feet that was in a good location, I looked at. It doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm in a business where I don't make enough money, but like I'm running through the numbers. Like for the one location that I liked, if I made, just hypothetically, if I made $100,000 in revenue on the vintage stuff with this lease, if I made $100,000 in a year, my profit would be $15,000.
Yeah.
With this lease. It's like, what the?
Yeah. How are
What,
you?
what am I doing?
Yeah,
What's the point?
Not a viable business.
Yeah, no, it's 100% not viable. And it's like, am I going to sell? You do the math on $250,000 worth of vintage clothes.
That's a lot of t-shirts.
That's a shit ton of clothing every day. It's a lot of clothing every day. It's enough to keep you locked in a basement doing laundry for 4 hours a day. Like seriously, it's.
Yeah, have you gotten tired of that yet? Like just like folding stuff.
No one likes
stuff?
working. I don't get home and go,
oh man,
yes,
a
the
fresh
clothes.
load of laundry. Yeah.
F that, man.
Yeah.
I do it. And this is something that I've had to change, but I used to do it, to be 100% honest. I used to do it because I wanted to be the best. I wanted people to look at me and think I was just hot shit.
Yeah.
And I rode that wave. I don't know what it was, just competitiveness or being young. I rode that for 3 years.
That's good. You need something that drives you, and if it doesn't, like,
it's give and take.
It's give and take. I mean, there's some drawbacks.
100%. But yeah, I do not subscribe to the idea that work is like enjoyable.
Right.
I just don't personally. Maybe I'm lazy or maybe I'm blah, blah, blah. But I can't look at it like work. I have to look at it like it's an obligation, like it's something that I have to do.
Yeah.
Because that's just how my brain works. But yeah, you get tired of all of it. It's extremely monotonous, like everything else.
So what's the next step for both of you? Because I know, Sam, you mentioned potentially branching out from clothing. Is that like a hypothetical, or is that something you've legit thought like, hey, I might move on from clothing and do something that's higher priced?
I've thought about adding stuff. I think another thing I'm going to do probably sooner rather than later is to start doing like custom jewelry and stuff like that.
That'd be
so
sick.
I have some connections in with that, and a lot of the people I sell to, if they need chains for like the draft is a big thing, like custom projects like that. But right now I'm just kind of focused on like getting through K201 and French 2,
Yeah.
If I'm gonna be completely honest, like some weeks I go like a whole week without like touching clothes at all. Cause I'm like, okay, you can't sacrifice everything just to, make a little money that week. But, for this year, probably just continue expanding into other colleges. Like I'm talking to Iowa and other colleges that are coming to Bloomington, or just, traveling just for the fun of it and going to different places.
Yeah. So how many, are you a freshman? Or?
Yeah, I'm a freshman.
So you're like, I want to grow, but also want to get my degree. So like maybe not grow too quick.
Yeah. I think like it'll be different next year, because freshman year is always like, that's what everybody says. That's like the year where, you have to make sure you get through it and you do it well.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I think I've struck a pretty good balance with it.
That's great.
Definitely a lot of like late nights and days where I'm not in my dorm at all.
Yeah.
But it's definitely worth it.
That's great. Yeah. I mean, you gotta find a way if you want to be successful and do this other stuff on top of school. You just got to put in the hours.
Yeah.
There's no cheat code. There's no way around it. No. So do you just like look at the upcoming schedule, be like, oh, we got like Nebraska coming in, I'm going to message one of their players?
Low key, yeah.
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 Like, dude, don't out me, bro.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. Basically.
All right, my bad. Sorry,
Yeah,
I
no,
didn't mean to
you
blow up
good.
your spot.
No, I mean,
You can reach these people on their.
that's just how it goes. But I'm it's like when I first started doing that, like I don't know how many IU dudes, like just IU dudes, I reached out to when I was like in high school, and I didn't get a single response.
Yeah.
And then I met like one, and it's just like instantly like you get all the other responses. Like I can reach out to any IU guy now and they'll respond, but it's like it's still a little hard sometimes with like, you know, other colleges, but a lot, it's just really looking at like the mutual followings and stuff.
Right.
Because like I said, a lot of the dudes grew up playing basketball on the same team like their whole life, and then they each go to different D1 colleges, so you instantly have all those connections.
Do you ever have to, like, if they don't respond, to just go? Do you ever have to name drop? Be like, hey, did you see our mutual follow?
No, I haven't really done that yet.
Okay, all
I
right.
usually is just my first one, because I've like, that's another thing is like trial and error. Like I don't know, I used to send like, you know, like here's what I do, and it's just like that shit looks like a bot message,
Right,
You know
yeah,
what I'm
yeah.
saying? So it's like more so like, hey, stuff like that.
Yeah.
People will respond.
Sam's
more
Mr.
personal,
Cool.
less sales. Yeah.
You gotta be cool.
Yeah.
It's like with the ladies, you know, you can't be desperate.
Right,
People
yeah.
can smell that type of thing, especially
yeah.
when you're trying to sell something. So being cool it's always the way to go, especially with people who pride themselves on being cool.
Yeah, you don't lead it out with, I'm a great listener, I'm a
Exactly.
good cook, you know.
Yeah,
Just be
that's
like,
the
hey,
thing.
What's up? Yeah, I'm mysterious.
I'd
See
like
what's going on. You
I'd
know?
like
I'm
to
a man
think-
of mystery.
Yeah.
I'd like to think that I've like almost perfected talking to athletes now. So like the next one on my list is probably girls.
Girls?
One at a time.
I never got to that. I never got to any of that. I just make videos in my basement.
We're learning that one together.
Yeah,
that's
we're
good.
doing seminars, the whole thing.
Just when you trust me, just when you think if you got it figured out, whatever used to work doesn't work anymore, you're like, well, shit. Like I relied on this for years. Anyway, maybe it's just me. Maybe I lost it.
Who knows?
Looking to embrace a sober lifestyle or cut back on your alcohol intake? No Buzz Bottles is here for you. Featuring alcohol-free beer, wine, and spirits, there's no need to feel left out at your next get-together. Plus, you'll feel a lot better and be a lot more productive the next day. Locally owned and operated, No Buzz Bottles has a wide variety of offerings, including alternatives for rosé, gin, rum, seltzers, and more. Best of all, they have free local delivery on all orders. Check them out today at nobuzzbottles.com. What's next for you, Trey? What do you got going, man? What's the 10-year plan?
10-year plan? Oh man. I got like a 5-year. There are different options I have right now. And if I can continue to do business like I did last year, 2023, it's hard to see what I'm going to do because I have the opportunity to expand, right? And open like general vintage shops, or I can kind of like put my talons in on Bloomington and really work on kind of. I don't want to really talk about it in I don't want to tell. I'm working on something right now that would basically raise the status of Hoosier I1 to past selling clothes and being like, not like a pillar of the community, but being like something that people from out of town or people inside of Bloomington can look to and say, oh wow, I didn't even know this was a thing, or like something that's informational and kind of feeds into the allure of Indiana University.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, we've talked about that with No Dishes. We're like, well, let's be more than just food reviews and a podcast. Let's give people recommendations or do food tours.
Yeah.
Or, you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
there's ways that you can have your niche, but like it branch out. So
Yeah.
you can make money through just selling clothes, and it's more than it's a brand. It's a name.
Yes.
Yeah.
And the podcast is
Yeah. That was my next thing was, Who's Your Barber
that's
Talk?
huge. And we've really been loving that, and I'm really enjoying getting into it because I don't know if you could tell, I can't shut up. So when someone puts a microphone in front of my face, I'll go nuts.
Well, and don't you have like 3 co-hosts?
2.
Okay.
It's still a work in progress. They might not want to tell you that, but I'm really enjoying getting into it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean, and learning the business side of it too, because I'm fascinated by things like that. And I think kind of even what Sam said, Sam might be ahead of the curve on me for this one, is building my own personal brand and branching out into just more forms of meaningful content creation, because that's what my heart desires. My heart does not desire to sell clothes
Yeah.
for the rest of my life. I want to try to find a way to make, this might sound stupid and naive, but like make legitimate change in people's lives and help people, or try to just give people something of actual substance.
Yeah.
I feel like it's, especially on Instagram, oh my God, it's like, if I wasn't running a business on Instagram, I would throw my phone in a creek somewhere and get a beeper. You know what I mean? Like seriously, I think it's that terrible.
Yeah.
So I don't know, maybe, I don't know.
Well, that's, I mean, I know you don't want to show your cards too much. I respect that. But like, there's tons of people making tons of money content creating, and like, you're good at selling clothes because partially because you're
100%.
such a good content creator.
Well,
did you ever have like a piece of content that like went viral, or like one that like blew up and you're like, oh shit, like I'm good at that. This is how I want to sell clothes?
No, I started doing the videos. I mean, dude, when I started Hoosier I Won, it was like every other business. It was like my friends. And I just naturally, I mean, even like looking back, I don't even know like the first time I said Hoosier I Won Vintage Family.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
I just started making, let me look.
It reminds me of like old like commercial. I don't know if you guys remember
100%,
them.
yeah.
But like, it's like old commercials, like Don's Guns. Do you remember those?
Yeah.
He's like, I don't care about making money. I just love to sell guns.
selling guns.
It's a personality.
Yeah.
And I'm an IU, like I always tell people, like as a joke, like in my inner circle, that like I was handpicked by the CIA to sell vintage IU clothes. Like my grandmother on my grandmother on my dad's side, like her house, like grandma and pop had a house filled with IU memorabilia. My grandfather's PE coach was Branch McCracken.
Oh, damn.
Like, he went to Indiana University, and Branch McCracken, you know, like the most, not the most, but one of the most legendary IU coaches of all time, was his frickin' PE teacher.
That's nuts. So
You know, like,
it's in your blood.
100%.
Have you done content on that?
No, because people don't give a shit about that.
Yeah, you're like, only people
I don't
over
even-
30.
yeah. I really haven't even like done personal videos.
Right.
I don't even know, probably since Kirkwood was open. And even then, I'm transitioning completely away from being a clown, because it honestly, like, it frustrates me sometimes how effective being stupid is.
Yeah.
And I've done some real stupid shit.
Well, dude, we've seen it at the Chocolate Moose where like we'll make a real polished, like great video and it does okay.
Yeah.
And then Caleb, you worked with Caleb right at the store. So before he ran our social media, he does now, shout out Caleb Poor. He just did a TikTok of him making a waffle cone, hot dog, swirl ice cream, and taking a bite, and it gets like 1.5 million.
Yeah.
And it's just like, oh, like nobody cares about a well thought out idea.
Oh, yeah.
It's just like, oh, they want to take the ice cream, throw it, hit somebody in the face. Like,
It's McDonald's.
Yeah.
McDonald's isn't the best because it's good for you, or because it's exemplary in anything other than convenience, and it's just that.
Yeah.
It's that thing in the brain that just goes, and that's the scariness of social media, in my opinion, is just like how much that has, I don't know, how polished people's ability to attach to people's attention has become.
Yeah.
100%.
Well, just scrolling, getting into like a scroll. It's like
Oh my
attention
God.
span's getting shorter and shorter.
Dude.
Have you guys, again, we're going to keep emphasizing the age gap here. Have you guys seen Idiocracy before?
Of course.
Okay. All right.
Great.
Thank God. We got something.
I can't
Yeah,
say
no, but
I
that's
can't
like-
say my favorite line in that movie, but the doctor scene is hilarious. I always look at that, I'm like, oh my goodness, this
Yeah.
is like,
But it's like we keep getting closer and closer. We're like, man, they knew what they were talking about. Like we're living it. All right. Food. We got to talk food before we got.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I was like, we're here for a food podcast. I know you guys eat out. But we got to give shout outs. Where's the go-to lunch spot? You're downtown. You want lunch. Where you going?
You want to go first, Sam?
I'm thinking.
I got mine on lock.
Yeah, go.
B-Foods, dog.
Oh,
I'm in
Bloomington.
Bloomington
All
Foods.
right.
I'm getting the freaking chicken caprese with chip.
6th and Madison, downtown one, right? Or east side?
East side.
Okay.
Because I'm out there. I'm out on the east
Okay,
side.
yeah.
And I'll go B-Foods, chicken caprese, chip. I need the pickle with the chicken caprese. Kombucha.
Yeah. Got to get the
I got that
booch.
today, dog. That's my shit. B-Foods for lunch
Have
all
you done
day.
their like Toll House cookies?
I haven't messed with the cookies, but I mess with the bacon, egg, and cheese. You can only get that on the east side. They don't do it downtown.
Got that east side exclusive. You're all about exclusives. I love it.
Oh, hey, come on.
Yeah. I don't think we haven't shown enough. I always share Blooming Food stuff to our story, but we don't give them enough love on here. I'm glad you said that.
Love beef foods.
I love,
They're the
I'm
best. Yeah.
Shout out the whole gang.
What about you, Sammy?
Mine's like, might be an unpopular opinion, but I go to ZNC. It's my favorite.
I don't think that's unpopular at all, man. I feel like I see people all the time. Like that's like their number one spot. Like, if you had one meal before you left Bloomington, I think I've seen it like Barstool or whatever.
ZNC.
It's like people just shouting out ZNC left and right.
The only reason I say it's unpopular is because like I choose to go there sober.
Yeah, it's like a drunk.
Like you said for lunch.
Yeah.
You get it fresh before.
So what are you doing? Are you doing like chicken and shrimp with the special sauce and an egg?
No, I do chicken teriyaki, and then I get half lo mein and half fried rice.
Okay. No spicy mayo, nothing?
I put the spicy mayo.
Okay.
It depends how I'm feeling though. Like,
right.
If
you're feeling frisky.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Okay. What about favorite pizza?
Ooh.
I know. This one's so tough.
Bro.
I feel like
I got a specific one.
Okay.
Buccettos, but like more specific, the Buccettos Razorback.
Okay.
Not Buccetto as a whole, just the razor. I only have ever gotten like the Razorback of Buccettos.
What is it? What's on it?
It's ham, bacon, pepperoni, and garlic.
Meat lovers.
Exactly.
And that's like regular red sauce?
Yeah.
Okay.
You gotta go
That's
red
my
sauce.
favorite.
Yeah.
I'll say this, not Avers. Sorry guys. I used to
We're gonna lift people up.
I used to rep Avers super hard, bro. They broke my heart.
What happened? I want to hear this.
Bro, I'll tell you after the podcast. It was just I can't even say it on camera. I would seem like an ass.
I don't know if you guys can tell he's tearing up right now. It was like a breakout.
It's
I was
emotional.
disappointed,
He's like,
bro.
I love them so much. I gave my heart and
I
soul.
was disappointed. Now I'll go, dude. Shout out Pizza X, Jeff, Ryan, all those guys.
Yeah.
If it's 2 a.m., I need a pizza, or I'm just in and out, need a quick pizza. I'm going Pizza X, pepperoni, jalapeno. If I'm doing some little more cool or whatever, like a little more fancy, put it on the dinner table. Mother Bear's deep dish, pepperoni, jalapeno. Breadsticks, cheese sauce.
Oh yeah,
Mother Bears is a good one.
Water.
Yeah, that's a good one.
that's how we tried to. I think I told you right before. This is what we tried to frame this off of was Mother Bears.
Yeah.
the wood boost, like signing, carving into it.
Oh, yeah,
You're sitting right next to Mark's message right
Mark,
there.
the owner.
Love you, Unky Jordan.
Yeah, he called me Unky Jordan. He's a sweetheart. Yeah, Mark Heidick. He's one of the owners, dude.
Those guys are awesome.
He's hilarious. One of the funniest dudes I've ever met. And just good people.
Yeah.
He knows his shit.
That's a classic spot.
What about you?
Oh man, I'm not allowed. We did this on the last one where someone actually got a ranking out of me because I try to like.
Oh no!
I try to just talk about what I love and not rank, and because I don't want to play favorites.
If I do it for you, technically it's not you, but I was spending time with Jordan this last weekend. He ordered some Da Vinci
yeah,
with
Those soccer guys love Da Vinci.
yeah. Better business, better community. For over a century, the Greater Bloomington Chamber of Commerce has been a cornerstone of business growth and community development. They are dedicated to helping local businesses thrive. Their business is all about your business. Join the chamber today. Call 812-336-6381 or visit chamberbloomington.org to learn more. Yeah, it was chicken sausage, hot honey, and ricotta.
Ooh.
Yeah, that's how I like
That's a
to
little
do
too
it.
fancy for me.
Nah, Pinky's out, bro. I'm like, it was good.
That's sweet though. I gotta go there. I gotta check it out. All my
Yeah.
guys, Q on the soccer team loves it. JT loves it.
Okay.
All those guys, they
Yeah,
rep.
well, dude, they're always popping. And that's one of the things. So obviously like I'm like townie status, been here like 14, 15 years,
Yeah.
14. And no one on like the local like Bloomington Facebook foodies group, no one ever talks about Da Vinci. But you go by there and it's packed. So it's like townies aren't really going there. It's like all students, all families coming
It's
in
a
from
big
out
thing
town.
for students. Like I
Yeah.
know, like a lot of, to be completely honest, a lot of like the rich girls that live in my
sorority
dorm,
girls
like
and
they
shit.
all go to Da Vinci. Like,
Yeah.
that's where they go to have fancy dinners. But I think it's also like the athletes too. Like you said, like that's where I can't even tell you the amount of times I picked up like Hood Schifino a pizza from Da Vinci's.
Yeah.
Like it was like that was
Really?
his spot. Yeah.
Yeah, it's good. I mean, it takes me back to King Dough on the Square. Just that good, like kind of
Yeah.
cool fired.
I think it's because
Classic.
it tastes like so healthy. Like it's not like grease.
Yeah.
Like I love Pizza X,
Shout
more
out
than the
Pizza
next
X.
guy. But it's like that's like a it's not a food I would eat if I had like a game the day after.
Yeah.
Oh
Da
yeah.
Vinci's more like it's like real pizza. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
like,
yeah. No, it's totally different styles. Like, because Mother Bears is probably my favorite, but like, it's just where they're not. It's apples and oranges.
Yeah.
You know, Mother Bears, I'm taking a nap after.
Exactly.
Oh
You
yeah.
know,
Yeah.
Da
No,
Vinci
yeah.
is
You got to
like-
be careful with the Mother Bears.
Yeah, classing
It'll
it
get
up
you.
a little bit. Dude, they did.
It'll
So I
get you.
accidentally, I DoorDashed it. That's how lazy I was. And I had I accidentally ordered 2 of their cannoli cheesecake. So Garrett got lucky because I was like, bro,
I lucked out on that one.
Hell
Yeah, I've never intentionally ordered. I'm a fat ass, but I'm not that big of a fat ass. I'm
Fuck it.
ordering 2 cheesecake slices. But it was so good, man. So
I have a question for you.
yeah.
What do you think the biggest townie restaurant in Bloomington is? I think I
man.
have an idea. I have an idea in my head.
Oh, I might have one too.
Yeah, I mean, it depends. I mean, so obviously you got Cloverleaf's on the south and west side. That's super towny. Cloverleaf is just through and through diner, you know, blue collar, like very affordable.
It's like the most stereotypical diner.
Yeah.
ever. I used to
Yeah.
go there like before school, and every time I go in there, there'd be like cops at a table. And I
Yeah,
was
oh,
like,
yeah.
this is like this is like from like Riverdale or something.
Yeah,
You
no,
know what
you
I'm
walk
saying?
in,
Yeah.
it's like, Bob, how you doing?
Yeah,
You know what I
exactly.
mean?
Yeah.
It's like
Yeah.
it's the neighborhood spot.
Yeah.
But I would say like downtown, the most towny would probably be like Troho, or like Crazy Horse can get
Yeah.
pretty.
I was gonna say
towny.
Upland.
Oh, really?
I feel like-
Okay.
I
I
feel
was
like
thinking
that, yeah.
Runcible.
Yeah. Okay.
Bro, Runcible at night, bro. Runcible at night. A lot of people don't know this. I'm not even going to say it on camera. It's open later than you'd think, and
Yeah.
you can go and have a beer on
They've
the
got-
patio. It's fantastic.
Yeah, and they have good dinner too.
Yeah, 100%. Those guys rock.
Yeah, that's weird. Students, I feel like used to mess with Upland so much, and so maybe not
I've
as
never
much
gone.
anymore. Really?
Bro, but I'm like weird about my food. I'll eat the same thing. Like I've eaten the same thing every day for probably the past like 8 days, and I'll do it like routinely. Like I'm autistic like that.
Yeah.
Like I'll eat.
Yeah,
I can tell you exactly what I eat every single day.
Yeah, a little touch of the tism.
Just a little bit. But it's good though. It's keep it simple. I'm not. It's like Einstein.
Yeah.
Why am I gonna freaking
dude,
wear
why-
different stuff every day? I
If you
wear
like
jeans and a
something,
t-shirt.
yeah. All right. Any last shout outs you guys want to give before we go?
Shout out No Dishes, man. Come
Yeah,
on.
let's go.
Dishes.
Yeah.
Kane. We
Shout
already
out
shout
Kane.
out Kane,
Kane.
but Kane
You guys know
again,
that
yeah.
shit?
Shout
Tom
out,
Segura
bro,
bit?
shout out CJ. Oh, go ahead. My bad.
No. It's all about Big Daddy Kane, but he's like, hey, Kane. Anytime you guys say Kane, I think
think of
that's
Big
Segura
Daddy
bit.
Kane?
Yeah.
We'll
Anyway.
start calling him that. We'll bring it up.
Yeah.
Shout out CJ Gunn. Keep your head up. Shout out Xavier, bro. All those guys, keep your head up.
yeah.
Keep playing hard. All the people who actually watch the games are not mad.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's part of. I wish we could have talked about basketball because
I
I'm
know.
so frustrated
Yeah.
with the fan base right now.
Yeah.
But we'll keep it for.
No, you're good. Well, I think I'm supposed to be coming on Who's Your Barber Talk at some point.
100%.
So
Yeah, we're working on season 2
We got
right
a million
now.
other things we can cover,
Oh,
bro.
yeah.
I'm pumped. I'm excited. It'll be
Yeah.
a good time.
Yeah, that would be awesome.
All right. Well, hey, keep up. You guys are young guns, just killing the game. I appreciate you taking the time to come on so much.
Of course. Yeah.
Thank
Thanks
you,
for
man.
having us.
All right,
Appreciate you.
Thanks, fellas. What another great episode. Thanks again to Visit Bloomington for being our Season 5 title sponsor. If you haven't checked them out yet, go to visitbloomington.com. This episode of the No Dishes podcast was recorded, edited, and produced by Garrett Portinga of Green Hat Media in beautiful downtown Bloomington, Indiana.
No dishes.
No Dishes Media.
No Dishes Media.